Howdy, folks, and a Merry Christmas to all of y'all. I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to our Tekkit Legends Let's Play adventure. Now, I realize it is not quite Christmas yet, but tomorrow is December 1st, which is technically the start of Christmas, which, let's face it, is a 31-day holiday. It's all of December, and I decided now would be a good time to do a Christmas-themed Let's Build. We're going to completely redecorate the house in a complete Christmas style, which I think is going to look great, and in fact, I've already done it, so I know it looks great. I went ahead and used this as an opportunity to sort of rebuild the facade a bit and redo the roof. You remember in the facade update video, I talked about wanting to do a spruce log roof, but not having the patience to try to do it with a jetpack. Well, now that we have Swiftwoof's Rending-Gale, I gotta be very careful with how I say that because I keep saying it wrong. Now that we have that, though, it made building the spruce roof a lot easier, so I did that. And then I got to thinking about how I was going to redesign the facade. Now, a lot of people suggested I try to make it more three-dimensional, and I decided, you know what, let's not just add some accents, let's really make this thing three-dimensional. Let's really make it pop out. So you'll see the arched roof now sticks out further as it goes up, and it really points toward the setting sun. And I went down through the foundations and built those up. It looks a little goofy right now, but don't worry, it will look better once I do some blending into the side of the mountain. Then I decided I would go with marble because our quarry hit an absolute payload of marble. We have so much of it, it's starting to become a problem. I decided I would redo the facade with marble because it's bright and it's white and it's much more cheery for Christmas. And so here you can see I'm just kind of building up the pillars, getting everything sorted out, and then I decided I would not go with regular glass like last time. Instead, Christmas colors are red, they're white, they're green, so I went with red and white glass on the front of the house there, and it doesn't last long. I actually decided to sort of tweak it here in just a bit. You'll see me playing around right there with our wedges, and I realized you can put transparent blocks and wedges and have window wedges, which was amazing. And I was like, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to have just like a perfectly flat, angular house. That'll be cool. And at the end of the day, I think it is actually kind of cool. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Now, that does mean more work. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, there's no way I would have been able to do this in the time that I did without Swiftwolf. Overall, this entire decorating episode took 4.5 hours. Just 4.5 hours straight of non-stop work, which is ridiculous. But I'll tell you right now, it would have taken so much longer trying to use scaffolding or our jetpack. Swiftwolf's Rending-Gale made a complete difference. It made the whole building process much easier. So here you'll see I widened out our marble sort of pillars so that all the glass panes or all the glass windows would be 3 panes wide, so a bit more uniformity there. And you can see me going through and changing the other side to match. And then when I was done with that, I came back around to the front, and I'm not sure if I do this here or later. I think I do it later. Because the first thing I wanted to do is try to blend it out a bit. But I did add some posts, some carpenter's posts with some spruce logs in them to bring that front area, that kind of 3 wide area, make it pop out a little bit more after I worked on the door. Yeah, there they are. See, I'm not a liar. I know what I'm talking about. And I think that I like them. I'm not really sure. They don't really add any structural value, but they do look okay. Now here I go through with some dirt and I try to make it blend a little bit better with the mountain because, as I've said previously, I want this house to look natural, or as natural as possible. I want it to look like the mountain was there, and the mountain, I just set a house down and kind of pushed it into the mountain and everything was perfect. And of course, that's a lie. It's definitely not like that, but I think it does kind of look it, and you can sort of fake it. Now I also went through using the carpenter stairs and some marble to create some marble stairs, which look pretty cool. And I'm pretty happy with the way those turned out. And of course, they do go all the way down to the base of the mountain later on. You don't see that right now. In fact, I haven't even put the carpenter stairs there yet. Ah, there they go. And I fill them with marble. And eventually those go all the way to the base of the mountain, just not quite yet. Now, the next stage in the build was to add some more Christmas decorations. Green has been sorely misrepresented, so as you'll see here, I'm adding some green and red lights to the front of the house, which I think look pretty good, but not good enough, so I decided to bring out some Christmas trees. Now, the Christmas trees are interesting. I used baubles. Is that what they are? The green and red little Christmas ornaments? We'll go with baubles. I like the word. It's a fun word to say. So I used red and green baubles on the Christmas trees that I'm about to build. And then initially, I just dropped some yellow wool on top, and I got the yellow wool using our Philosopher's Stone on a piece of wool. But I did decide later on to change it to a light block, although we'll get to that a little bit later as well. Now, after I got done with the Christmas trees, or sort of the first iteration of the Christmas trees, I moved inside and started decorating there. And the first thing I did was remove those glass blocks from behind our glass wedges because that's too much glass. The next thing I tried to do was give a little bit more definition to our marble pillars from the inside using carpenter's wedges. And since the facade of the house is marble, but the inside walls are stone brick, I tried to blend those a little bit better using wedges. I first thought about going with the interlocking pattern, but as you'll see here in just a second, I gave up with that idea and just went over and used just wedges with some, I think, stone bricks in them, or maybe marble. Yeah, it was stone bricks. I was like, you know what? That blends perfectly. Next up was lighting. How was I going to do lighting? Obviously, blue can be a Christmas color, but really the primary Christmas colors are white, green, and red. So I experimented a bit with red and green lights, and I decided to just go around with red lights, which was okay, and sort of stick some around. But then I decided, you know what? I don't really like them running through the middle of the house. It looks okay on the ground, but when you look at it from the sky, it's a bit silly looking. And so I decided to try some other things. I tried freckling out some green lights, and I was like, ugh, I don't really like this either. And then what I ultimately decided to do was make red and white lights and do them in a sort of candy cane pattern across the floor, which you'll see me do there. First one by one, or one red and one white, and then two red and two white. And then that way, they just really popped out and they looked like a candy cane across the floor, and it just has a real nice Christmas feel to it. Now, this did mean that green had to go away. We have no green lights on the inside of the house, which was sad, but don't worry, I do introduce some more later. Just because they're not on the floor doesn't mean there's any green, not any green at all. So we do get some green lights a little bit later on, and of course we have a big old Christmas tree in the house, which you'll see later. Now, winter just kept blowing in outside. Every so often there'd just be another snowstorm. It started off, though, mostly on the mountain. But that did change later on. You'll see, not in this video, but in the next one, winter has completely gripped the entire map, and it's pretty awesome. Now there you'll see me using a yellow lamp to as a star, which will eventually make its way outside as well. Now, I didn't stop there. I started work on the roof next using our fixtures, red and white, of course, keeping up the candy cane sort of feel. And I just wanted to bring some light to the roof because the roof is so dark and ominous and gloomy. I thought, you know what, if we just add some lights, that'll be good. The pattern was a bit difficult to figure out. Also, the horse was a bit difficult to deal with. Every so often, he'd just run up and try to lick the camera guy, which caused me to bust out laughing. But once I got over that, though, I started work on some garlands, just kind of strewn around in the background there, with some more red and green baubles and red and green lights. So there you go, you got plenty of green now. Now, after doing that, I decided to try building some wreaths, and I also replaced all of our blue lights on the inside with white lights and added some more wedges. The wreaths, I think, turned out okay, but I didn't do a whole lot of them, and then I decided what we really needed was a fireplace. Now, the fireplace, I like the way it turned out, but it did mean that our Christmas tree was right in the way. So after finally getting rid of the garland and those baubles in the background, kind of getting the fireplace all fleshed out, I decided the time had come to just destroy our little tree. But not forever, it would be replaced with two trees. Now, I tried to get two identical trees, but eventually I gave up and just kind of cut them down and made them the way I wanted them to be. That's right, I manufactured trees. Did you know you can use your chainsaw on leaves to get the leaves and they have EMC value? Turns out you can, and that's exactly what I did here to kind of build two matching trees and then cover them in green and red baubles, which we have an excess of now just sort of sitting around because they do not have an EMC value. Because I guess that would be hard to assign an EMC value to those tiny little things. But I digress. Once that was done, I moved outside. Please excuse every so often the video will kind of flutter and go crazy. Please excuse that. I moved back outside where I added some more Christmas trees and replaced the wool blocks with bright lights, the yellow lamps. I covered all the Christmas trees and baubles. As you'll see, again, the whole world is still green except for the mountain. That does change in between this and the next episode. And tomorrow's episode will really be the first in the Christmas season. Sort of the first. I've got some announcements in that one that you folks will probably be interested in, talking about how everything is going to be different in December. And I know a lot of people probably won't be happy with my changes, but they must be changed. And we'll talk about that more. I went downstairs, tried to blend a little bit more. I say downstairs, I went down the mountain and tried to blend a little bit more and sort of expanded the staircase a bit more as well. Now, I don't know where I was going to go with that thought. Oh, yeah. You can download this map. In the description, there will be a single link that'll take you to the playlist. The playlist will have a link to my website where you can register an account and download the map. And you don't have to deal with those obnoxious short C links anymore. They were kind of dumb, so I got rid of those. Now, here's just a good look on the outside of the house. I think it looks pretty good. And here in a second, we're just going to pan right on up. Again, you'll see a little bit of rain. It's gone now. Snow has engulfed the map. It's a beautiful wintry wonderland outside. And all in all, I'm really happy with the house. I think it does end up being a bit too flat and a bit too angular, but those are all things we can change in our, I don't know, New Year rebuild of the house, because I think we're going to be rebuilding this thing at least once every month. And why don't you come on inside here? Howdy, how you doing? come on inside here and take a look at the inside, which I am incredibly happy with. The candy cane floors, the garland, the lighting fixtures in the roof, the fireplace, all of it is great. The horse is not so great. He really gets on my nerves. He makes a lot of noise. Buttercup, ever the good dog, silent as always. I think he's really getting into the Christmas season, or Craftmas, as they celebrate in the world of Minecraft. And folks, that is the end of this video. Again, download in the first link in the description. Just follow those directions. Thank you for tuning in. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And until next time, I guess I'll just wish you goodbye. And I'll see you in the next video.